there's been like pretty much a patch every week now.
Yeah, pretty much every week. So we're on patch 7.
Yeah, and we've been out not even 2 months for the beta. I kind of feel like Terran has seen the biggest changes of everybody.
Yeah, like I would say, like they've seen the most significant changes, like consistently.
The one thing I thought was cool was when the SCVs where they had like 60 hit points or something.
Yeah, and they've always had 60 even from Starcraft 1, from the dawn of time.
Okay, and now they're down to like 45, right?
Yeah, they bumped them tremendously down to 45.
Yeah. But they're still strong. They're still like, it's still more hit points.
It's still enough that they'll win. I think in a straight up fight they'll win against either a probe or a drone, but just barely now.
And that's why even like there was that game that Shrimpu sent us.
Yeah, it was great.
With there was the full. It was Protoss and Shrimpu was Terran, right?
Yeah.
And he tried to pro brush a Terran.
Yeah, it was the only time I've ever seen a pro brush against Terran. It was great.
Yeah.
It was right after the patch, and so I guess the Protoss was thinking, yeah, maybe I can do it.
Yeah.
But
no.
Yeah, and I actually told you that where it's because now you know the Terran's going to build their barracks right at the ramp. It's so easy to block it with like a probe or a drone. You just put it right there.
Yeah, like really viable all the time. So, Zerg hasn't seen as many changes, but the changes there have been kind of subtle. Like, what I've noticed, the biggest change so far, I feel like has been the Roach nerf, the Roach regen nerf.
Yeah, and actually in patch 7 they just got nerfed so that they don't even once you get the upgrade they don't regenerate extra above ground either now.
Yeah, the above ground regen was so slow before that it really didn't make too much
even
of a
with
difference.
upgrade.
Well, I never upgrade. You know, screw that. You just attack and kill. But banelings are. I'm very happy with the patch update to them.
What was the patch for them again?
They upgraded the amount of general damage you do by 5.
Oh yeah, okay.
While decreasing.
Light
armor.
You know, they're doing that a lot, and I think that has to do with that they're trying to mellow out the hard counter aspect of the game, which is I think a really good choice.
The counter to Terran a lot. I really think banelings play a much larger role than people are giving them credit for. It's very hard to get into. You know, it's always been that way. It's very hard to get into the bits of the Terran army.
You had the idea that what if banelings could move while burrowed?
Yeah, well, because it comes down to.
Do you think that would be?
I think that could be a great idea. Like a lot of the issue is it comes down to lurkers are still missing from the game. Yeah, so the whole Protoss ball that comes at you, there's almost no option as a Zerg player because the Immortals push back Zerg. The Immortals, you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Zealots push back the Zerg.
Yeah, well, okay, so you have Zealots to push back the Zerg.
Okay.
You have the Immortals to push back the Roaches.
Yeah.
You have the Stalkers to push back any anti-air.
You only have a couple mutes at that point.
Yeah, and it's and you also have the Sentry to completely
nullify the Hydras and the mutes too.
So it's like it's an impossible mix, and that early in the game, it's really hard to have enough mutes out to counter that. So what I'm finding is the thing that banelings are effective for against Protoss is they wreck Stalkers.
Yeah, and Sentries. The Sentries also.
And so you have even just like it sucks you have to get the baneling tech just for that, but even if you have like 5, 6 banelings, you pop them at the perfect point because Protoss probably hasn't invested in Observer yet.
Yeah.
You pop the Stalkers out of the equation, and then at that point you can have about 3 Mutalisks, and even that then is just enough to push back.
And even if they did invest in an Observer, let's imagine that the banelings can move while burrowed.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that would even you'd have to focus fire the banelings, and with the rest of the army coming in, I think I don't know.
Well, that would be good because once Protoss caught on, they'd bring out Observers, and if you can move banelings while burrowed without the risk of the Stalkers taking them out, you know, having to unburrow and everything. It would be a lot better balance.
Now, let me ask you one question. Do you think that if banelings move while burrowed, would that be too strong?
No, because they're weak units.
Okay.
Yeah, they're weak units, and they pop quick. And if you have an Observer, a lot of micro.
Yeah.
They're a weaker lurker.
I think that they could be a little different. I don't like that.
No, they can't be. I don't like that. They have little wings, like almost like the guy from the Star Wars 4, or like what is it, episode 4? Episode 1. Is it 3rd episode?
want sushi.
I don't want sushi.
I wish carriers had.
So what you loved the most? Your little mouthless freaks.
They're awesome. I love Protoss.
I know you love Protoss.
They're the coolest race. They're the most original race in Starcraft.
So what are the biggest changes for you then? Right, and what's the
biggest changes to me so far? I mean, obviously, the biggest change is the mothership.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a cool unit. It's strong. If you go late game, you might want to get it, but
just to throw the other person off.
just to throw them off. And its abilities are strong. Vortex is really strong. The mass recoil is really strong. But it's just not exciting. To me, the thing about it that's not driving with me is not the mobility. It's just such an unexciting unit. I'm going to spend 400 minerals and 400 gas on what?
What if you could mine to it?
That would be really cool.
Like,
but anyway, I want to get onto other parts of Protoss than the mothership.
Yeah.
With Protoss in general, I'm having the gateway units are starting to feel really good. I'm talking about the Zealot. The Sentry is awesome. And
that's just
now with the change to the way that Stalker damage works, they're now finally they're getting to the point I think where they're really close to being a good replacement for the Dragoon as that sort of core Protoss unit that's flexible.
Yeah. Do you think that's because of patch changes, or because people are understanding now the exact number that you need to be effective with?
I think it's a little bit of both, but I think a big part of it's the patch changes, because before they did 8 damage plus 6 to armored. They do 10 damage.
They do more damage.
They do more damage normal and less damage bonus, so now they're more useful.
Okay, it's the same thing as the banelings. It's the same
thing
thing
as the banelings.
Yeah.
It's to make them less of a hard counter to armor, but now they're useful against Beetalisks, they're useful against Hydralisks, they're useful against even Zerglings or Roaches, which are still armored.
Yeah.
Robotics facility is great, but I'm having I have a couple of weird feelings about Stargate tech, and I have some weird feelings about Templar tech, because the Dark Templar Shrine takes so long to build now, and with the recent nerf to Psystorm, the radius on Psystorm is really very small.
Yeah.
It might even be too small. I think they changed it from 2 to 1.5. But the one idea I thought was really creative was to make the High Templar work sort of like the Ravens, where they have 5 charges, and you have a really strong Psystorm, but you can only use it 5 times max or 3 times max.
Okay.
And after that, that would encourage players to merge them into Archons.
So if you see High Templar, you know they're probably going for Archon. They're almost forced to go to Archons.
After they use their Psystorm a couple times.
Okay.
And that would allow you to have a Psystorm that's almost as strong as the 100 Secret Missiles are right now. Because 100 Secret Missiles, like we talked about during Terran, are really strong.
Yeah.
I still have a couple problems with Protoss Air. Phoenixes to me still seem a little bit, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get you. When I see your Phoenixes, I'm not intimidated.
Yeah, I mean, I'll
they're great for a little harass. They're great.
I can chase away mutes with Phoenixes, and that's like.
But if I bring out my Corruptors, it's there's no match.
6 Corruptors died of 3 or 4. 6 Phoenixes rather died of 3 or 4 Corruptors.
I'd say 4 maybe. But it's the whole. There's certain. I feel like with a lot of Protoss units, and also a lot of Terran units too, but more with the Terran unit combination. With Protoss units specifically, when I see a certain unit, it makes you freak out a little bit.
Yeah.
Like I see it on more, it's like, no. I see Void Rays before you're ready for them. If I don't have Hydras on the map, and that's when you make Void Rays. When there's no Hydras on the map, it's just like no.
Yeah.
But I see Phoenixes, and I'm like, all right, whatever.
They have no unit that I want to build a Stargate for. I don't want to build the Phoenixes because their lift up ability is really cool, but it's nowhere near as good as Vikings turning into ground units or Corruptors turning into Group Lords, right? And against air, they die once you start taking stronger air. So they're really only good against Vikings or against Mutalisks, and once you commit more to air, they're useless. So they have a very small window that they're useful.
What if they had what if the lift ability wasn't a channeled ability? What if it was an energy thing, like a Psystorm, where you have energy and energy?
That would be awesome.
So you could lift, you lift 3 things, and then you would regenerate, but it would be slow as hell. Where else haven't we talked about Starcraft?
I don't know.
We should find more places.
Yeah, we should find more places to talk about it. And I really wanna. Maybe we could play Starcraft.
The cameraman just got shit on.
We got shit on his bird shit. Please help.
Start with this.
No, it's gonna spread it.
No, open it. Clean it up.
It's gonna spread it.
It's gonna spread it.
Here.
With a palette knife, I can scoop under the shit.
I got it.
No.
Here we go. Wait. Don't do it. Don't do it.
This fucking bird shit on my arm.